And we are live
Bam, we're
on the
back.
Fumblebrewski. How you doing, Fernando?
Doing good, man.
Can we
Excited for
snap,
some
crackle,
good
pop?
football.
Can we
Snap,
snap, crackle,
crackle, pop. Fuck Rice Krispies. As always, what you gonna do about it? Here we are back, excited for some good football. It's ready to go. A Fumblebrewski classic. It's time to enjoy some good football this weekend. Lots of slates. That was a trash Thursday night football game, but besides that, good sailing ahead, man.
It was a pretty trash Thursday night football game. Not some exciting football. What I will say, okay, we'll get into it in a sec. But yeah, I'm excited. There's a lot to talk about. Big games coming up.
Big games.
We'll dive into all of these exciting week 3 news. But yeah, I guess we start with the less exciting, and we'll build up from there. That Thursday night game, not too exciting. But I will say, I think it's time for Kenny Pickett in Pittsburgh.
We both called for the Kenny Pickett.
There's no reason to me, I don't see any reason to keep playing Mitch Trubisky. He's not giving you anything special. Might as well give Pickett the experience. He looked great in the preseason. Let's see if he can play, right?
Exactly. Let's see if he can play. Small hands aside, like Kenny Pickett is the most pro-ready quarterback of the room. We've gone over it. Spencer and I have the same size hands as Kenny. Massive mitts, baby. We're ready to rock. Kenny's pro-ready. Let him get it. Out of all the quarterbacks that enter this draft class, he serves the least to gain by sitting on the bench. If he's pro-ready, let him go for it. Tomlin, you want to have a winning record. You don't want to rock with the MVP, Mitch Trubisky, all year.
Yeah. Speaking of massive mitts, also, shout out to Aranda Gadsden. Yeah,
Rondé Gadsden Jr., baby.
Rondé Gadsden Jr. tearing it up at Syracuse, undefeated Syracuse 4-0.
They beat Virginia.
That's right.
Awesome.
Shout out. Rondé Gadsden has the biggest hands I've ever seen in my life. His fingers all go in separate directions. But he can definitely catch the football in his day.
He can palm my head, bro. And I wear a large helmet. Okay, man. This has a massive mitts.
Yeah, massive mitts. Okay, speaking of more massive mitts, there's going to be some receivers who are balling and falling.
Who you got?
I like that transition. I like that.
Who you got as a little ball and falling?
A little ball and falling. I got to say, the Chiefs receivers are going to be balling.
Okay.
Right? I think Juju could have his first big game as a Chief. I think you got to watch out for him in fantasy as well, but I think he could be balling this week. They got an easy matchup against the Colts, who have shown nothing to me. Right? Until the Colts prove they know how to play football, I think the Chiefs can roll over them.
That's pretty funny that you mentioned that, bro. Because dude, we write all our takes beforehand, man. But Michael Pittman is back in health, and that's the man who I had as balling. Okay, I don't know about the Colts, so you could still be right. I think they can still get rolled over and mollywopped, but they're not going to put up 0 points again. Matt Ryan, he is falling. His career, it's clear to see it's at the end. Matty Ice is no longer Matty Ice.
That's a little early.
Matt Ryan's Matty Melted, bro. He's no longer the Ice Man. Okay. But Michael Pittman, he can still force feed a receiver. Michael Pittman is one hell of a man to force feed. Big boy, big body, out of USC. Finally coming into his own as a true wide receiver 1. Chief secondary is not that scary. They're going to have to keep up. They're going to have to at least throw the ball a lot. I'm having at least a very big day for Michael Pittman on the field. And in fantasy, I'll talk about that later, but fire him away. Michael Pittman will be balling.
A little early to say Matt Ryan's career is over.
It's like 37
games. It's been 3 games on the Colts. You know what I mean? He could have a spark. Maybe
2. They're like 0-2 right now.
Maybe he's having a couple. Yeah, maybe he's old, had a couple bad weeks. You know what I mean? He's just not there yet, and he'll have a good week. Body will be feeling good.
As of now, he's falling, bro. Matty Melting, fine. Matty Melting, not Melting.
They've had a pretty miserable start to the year. Tying the Texans and then getting blanked by the Jaguars is not your ideal start to a season, and it's only going to get harder from there as they go from the Texans and Jags to the Chiefs. That seems scary to me. We'll talk a little more about that later. But anyway, anybody else who's fallen, Fernando, this week?
A little bit more fallen for me, man. Just a little bit of hearing about all this AFC West. No, not AFC. I always get confused. The NFC West, used to be this glorious division, and now it seems like the Seahawks sliding down. Trey Lance just broke his ankle out for the year.
Yeah.
The 49ers are going to look a little tough. I know they got Jimmy G, he's capable, but it's not going to be this explosive offense. You thought the Cardinals are in shambles. Little Kyler Murray should play Call of Duty. I don't know. And he's not playing football well. So that entire division went from being one of the best, most competitive in football, it seems like a couple years ago, to just now it's the Rams are just going to win the division. I think it's a gimme. Like, I don't think there's anybody who can actually keep up with them. So,
well, you don't think anybody can keep up with the Rams? I mean, they haven't looked like fantastic yet.
And that's what I'm saying. Even them, it's not like they're crazy. This crazy Super Bowl team that was last year. The entire division
figure it out.
Taking a hit though. It's not this interesting football. It used to be like, oh snap, it's an NFC West game. Like, I'm jonesing to see that. It almost seems like the AFC West has supplanted that. Yes. But the Broncos are still falling. That's another one I was going to throw in there, man.
But
Russell Wilson and the boys suck. Okay, they
don't
suck.
look too good. They don't look too good. But see, so my fallen, interesting. You said when you got into the NFC West, my fallen was Arizona Cardinals. Not Kyler Murray in specific, more Cliff Kingsbury in specific.
Air raid, man.
Yeah. I think they could be in trouble. They have not looked very good. They got a tough matchup this week against the Rams. And I think if the Rams come out of there with an easy win, things are just going more and more south for Arizona. Like, yes, they won, and it was like miraculous what Kyler did, but they were in a pretty bad position. You know what I mean? They were down 20-0 to the Raiders.
So I'm saying, bro,
had some crazy. Also, if you watch the end of that game, there were so many times when they could have lost. Like, the Raiders were dropping interception, or they would miss a fourth down, but it was a penalty or something like that. So many times where they should have lost.
Cardinals got lucky.
Yeah. So I don't trust them. And I think it could go pretty far downhill because they kind of stuck to Kyler for a long time, spent a lot of money. I don't know where they're going from there, but I do know where I'm going from here. Beating you in fantasy, I'm going down victory lane as I take you down in fantasy this week. A big week 3 matchup.
I hate you, Spencer. We got a little. Do I have to zoom in, or are we good to go?
You're good. Yeah, zoom in a little bit. Why not? So Fernando's undefeated. I'm not undefeated. I did take my first loss of the year last week.
You suck.
And I will say, Fernando, you're playing my team a little bit hurt. Mike Evans had to go get suspended.
Not hurt. He's an idiot.
That hurts my team. And then Pat Freiermuth, only gave me a big old 6er during Thursday Night Football.
How is that hurt? You haven't named an injury yet.
Hurt is without Mike Evans.
Oh, that's not an injury, though. It's a suspension.
But my team is injured. You know what I mean?
Okay.
My chances are injured.
Next man up, brother. Where's your next? I'm finally getting J.K. Dobbins back. He's finally slotted in the flex.
Garrett Wilson, next man up.
That's a fire. You see, what are you complaining about? You're one of the most fire rookies in the NFL right now.
Exactly.
Don't come at me with this. No excuses out here, guys. I traditionally smack this league. I know I got a guest in the background who's probably furious right now. I traditionally dominate in this league. Only one man else can come close to completing me head-to-head record, but I am a champion of champion, a man amongst boys. But there's one boy who seems to elevate to manhood every time he plays me, and that is Spencer Krimsky, bro. It is so goddamn annoying. I have by far a winning record. I think I've lost 10 times in this league. Maybe 4 or 5 of them are just Spencer. He is my kryptonite. No, you're not the Dolphins, bro. You're like the Jets when they would sometimes beat Tom Brady out of sheer luck. Somehow Tom Brady was losing to the Jets. Okay,
I'm the Dolphins. You're
not the Dolphins, brother. I'm not giving you that much credit, Spence.
Hey, look
at this team, bro. Like this is tradition. I consistently have a better team than Spencer, and then he always somehow manages to scrape up a win.
Projected to win. I'm the projected favorite right now, even with Freiermuth only getting me 6. I'm still the projected favorite. Look at this.
Is that truth?
Oh no, is Gabe Davis playing?
Of course he is, bro. It's to 129.
See?
Hey, we might be in for a battle of doozy.
Battle of doozy. Who are you looking for a big week from, Fernando?
I think I do have a lot of riding on this Dolphins Bills matchup. I'm going to see it in person. So I'm going to be a lot of screaming and a lot of crying, a lot of pouting. I might try to trade Gabe Davis between now and the time of recording this because I cannot rely on him. I might just bench him. You know what? I'm just going to put Darnell Mooney. F you, Spencer. We ride, bro. I love how I didn't curse but flipped you off, but we're still going to But hey, why not? We ride, man. It's a big game, honestly, Sunday. As of now, Jalen Waddle, Tua Tagovailoa, that QB stack, if you're doing that in daily fantasy football, if you're doing that in regular fantasy football, anytime you can stack a quarterback wide receiver, it poses some risk. But in big games like this, big potential where the over is 52, you got to ride that, okay? Tua Waddle's fire. I got Tua Hill in other leagues. If you got the Josh Allen, Gabe Davis, interesting point before you go. I know I've been rambling for a while. But you have Josh Allen. I have Gabe Davis. I have the advantage in that matchup because a touchdown for you is 4 points. For me, it's 6. I get more points per yard. I get 1 point per 10 yards. You get 1 point per 25 yards.
That's assuming he throws to Gabe Davis.
But that's where it plays in your advantage. Strictly speaking, as Dolphins fans, I hope that Gabe Davis and Josh Allen both have 0 points.
Yeah.
But from a fantasy point of view, that's where the risk that's posed from quarterback receiver on opposing teams. The stack is fun when you own them both, but I'd say the advantage favors the guy who owns the wide receiver 1 in this matchup, which would be Stephon
Diggs. You're
Diggs.
pretty dependent on this Dolphins-Bills game being a high-scoring game. You got 4 players in that game. That's going to be a big matchup for you, and you're going to be there in person, which is going to be pretty fun. You're right. Surprisingly, the man I'm looking for a big matchup from is Garrett Wilson stepping in off the bench. He had a great performance last week, and I think he can back it up. He's got a chance against that Cincinnati defense. I think I'm looking for a big week from Garrett Wilson, maybe 20 points.
I can see that, bro. Definitely, especially because when you consider the fact that Cincinnati's not going to put their cornerback ones on him, that responsibility they're going to have to handle Elijah Moore. Or Eli Moore, whatever the fuck you want to call him. He's a Jets player. I don't really care. And Corey Davis. Those are big guys. Corey being a veteran. So Garrett Wilson's going to have some nice opportunities. The Cincinnati Bengals are reeling right now. If they do put up points, the Jets are going to have to throw to keep up. We've seen Flacco throwing an absurd amount recently. So that's a nice play. Yeah. Garrett Wilson could definitely shoot you for 20. If you're talking daily fantasy, that's a nice scoop.
Nice pick, exactly.
But
I just think he'll have the opportunities.
Or if he's your flex, if your flex consideration or wide receiver 3 consideration like Spencer, definitely fire him up in your leagues. Like if you have him in Dynasty, you might start using him from right now. A lot of time.
What's the news on Zach Wilson? Is he playing? Is Zach Wilson coming back?
He might be back by week 5 is the earliest. 5? Yeah, which would be funny. He'd play against the Dolphins to start off. And I might go to the MetLife Takeover. I might see you, Spencer, and one of our buddies, Trevor.
We're gonna do it.
If he ever watches this, I might see him as well.
Speaking of the Dolphins, I think it's time we talk a little bit of Dolphins as we kick off our primetime pick'em segment. Now, in order to do so properly, we're going to have a little help. We got a guest here on the phone. We have a Dolphins fan extraordinaire, supporter of the Fumblebrewski, and 6th grade cornerback star of the American Heritage football team. Welcome to
same
the show,
teams
Trevor.
that had Sony Michel and Isaiah McKenzie and a young middle school phenom, Trevor Wilbon. Welcome to the show,
Trevor.
Thank you both for that introduction. I didn't quite make it to the draft like a lot of our former classmates now have. I think I should have, but I appreciate the welcome all the same. I'm doing great. It's great to be on your show.
Great to have you, brother.
Okay. Exciting start for the Dolphins. How you feeling overall?
I feel great about the Dolphins. We talked a lot this offseason about, not getting sucked in again, not being fools and watching the same movie. And that's fair. Last season was not what we expected at all. But Coach Mikey McD, he looks like he's got us going in the right direction, at least early.
Beautifully said, Trev. Oh, baby.
It's time we jump into this. Speaking of this amazing start, we got a big one. Big one this week. Could be very telling for the team. I think it's important that we just play well. We got to play well. This is our best test to see where we are right now. against what I think is the best team in the league. It's going to be fun. Oh, man, I can't wait. I
All the
cannot
marbles.
wait.
This will be a fun. When was the last time we had a week 3 game this big, this early in the season?
When is the
Never.
last time we've had this big of a game in general? Like this, maybe the playoffs?
Playoffs?
I don't know. I mean, listen, we've gotten waxed recently by the Bills in games that have mattered. But someone made a good point. You know, the Bills have owned us lately. It's hard to argue that, but they've owned us through a rebuilding period. I know
Exactly.
they had their injuries and they were resting players, but we had Albert Wilson and Lynn Bowden, who are, as far as I know, both working at GameStop. All due respect to them. So I love them both, actually.
It could be. I was going to say, I thought you were a fan, a Lynn Bowden fan.
I actually think both are deserving of a job. I think, Patriots poached Bowden only to drop him after they lost to us. And I thought Wilson got screwed by the Vikings. He had 2 touchdowns in a preseason game, but they're not on the Dolphins anymore. I think we have a better shot.
Employee of the month. They could be employee of the month at GameStop.
Still an honor.
They could be. They better be at least winning those Madden matchups. But I think we have a better shot against the Bills this year compared to last year's, especially with the injuries they're dealing with.
Okay.
1,000%, man. They're reeling right now.
Let's get into predictions here. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of this game here. I will say the Dolphins are not playing the Bills at their absolute best. 4 defensive starters will be out, which definitely is going to be nice for the Dolphins. Micah Hyde out for the season now.
That sucks.
After the injury on his neck. Yeah, very unfortunate. A big loss for the Bills. But they said he should be ready to go for the 2023 season. As far as this matchup goes, yes, we are catching the Bills defense not at their strongest point. So, Fernando, maybe that's a good sign for your fantasy matchup as far as just points on the board. But I think this one I think there could be some points scored in this one.
The over-under is 52, bro. I think. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Dolphins over-unders, I don't know if they've been this high in a long time.
Ever. Probably ever. You're juggling us, Fernando.
Yeah, I was trying to figure it out, but oh well.
We're getting some faith put into us by Vegas and a lot of gamblers who like the fantasy football and points being scored, but we are still home dogs.
Yeah, as of
interesting
now,
situation to be
we're 5-point underdogs. Last time I checked, 4.5-point underdogs right now.
It came down a little bit.
Totally fair. I think that's totally fair.
I think it's fair
probably
too.
Pretty accurate, right?
I think it's fair too. It says that's basically saying the Bills are 7 points better on a neutral field, which we'll see. But they have looked dominant. I mean, they just beat, they wiped the floor with last year's AFC number 1 seed, although they look bad. And Taylor Lewan's out for the season as well. And the Rams, who we already talked about.
Tough injury.
Really tough injury for them.
He's out for the year.
Yeah,
Lewan's out for the year.
Again, didn't he just come back from a bad injury?
As reported by Bussin' with the Boys.
Shout out Bussin' with the Boys. But didn't he just have a major injury that he came back from like a year or 2 ago?
Yep, he just came back. So it was like 2 years ago. He was like 2 years ago. He got hurt. Last year he was coming back in that injury. That's why he says he got whooped by like Chandler Jones and whatnot.
Yeah.
He said he was like not trusting his body.
That's tough.
So now to go through that again must suck.
Yeah, he's not getting any younger either.
Exactly. So
that's tough. Well, hope for a quick recovery for Taylor Lewan. Okay, let's get into some predictions here. Trevor, I think we got to start with you. Big game, 1:00 start, our primetime game. What do you think is going to happen?
We always talk about, again, I'll bring back not jumping the gun. It's the Bills have shown us that it's their division until proven otherwise, which is fair. They did just have 2 resounding wins over the Super Bowl defending champs and the last year number 1 seed. But they're coming to us in September. I know they're going to be wearing that blue. I know we're pissed off from last year, as we should be, as I hope they are. And one thing to watch out for Teron Armstead, because he is a true question for this game, and he's probably our most valuable player not named Tua. So that will make a big difference on how this game can go. But with Micah Hyde, Ed Oliver, Dane Jackson, starting a Gator at cornerback, all those guys are out. I think this is our shot. I think if you're a good team, a competitive game could mean something, but there are no moral victories. You got to take advantage of this game. I'm going to predict a 30-27 win, Dolphins.
I like that. And you're definitely right, bro. Moral victories.
I'm nervous.
I'm nervous, bro. Before this game, we were fine. I think we were in a position where we could have said, like, yo, if we're just competitive, if we hang in there, yada, 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 we're okay. I'll take that moral victory. But you're right, Trevor. With all these injuries stacking up against the Bills, with all this stuff against their favor, and it just seems like it's prime time pick 'em for the Dolphins right now, man. They're about to scoop it up.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking if they have a shot, look, if the Bills are the best team in the league, which they very well may be, at full strength coming in, you would hope that if we're in that conversation for a top team, at least a top 10 team, you fight them strong at home. Exactly. But with these injuries, we're coming in hot. You got to elevate. So I hope it's a good game.
I'll be honest, guys. I have 2 picks for this game: a Dolphins pick and the non-Dolphins pick.
A homer pick and a non-homer pick.
I think both ways are going to be close, but I think it's going to be a close game regardless. I don't think we get blown out. That's the one thing I think the Dolphins can't do, and I don't think it happens. Out here. I don't see us getting blown out. I think the offense is too good. Oh my gosh! I really want to pick the Dolphins.
So do it.
But for the purpose of variety's sake, I'm going to go 31-27 Buffalo.
Close one.
But
you know what I was thinking about earlier too?
The darkness for you.
There was at one point where the Dolphins at one point had a 20-game win streak over the Bills. 20 games. That's a decade
20 games
of wins over the Bills. Now the Bills are not they're not quite there yet, but they're at 7. And if they win this game, it'll make it 4 years of games. But there's no shame in losing to the Bills this year. But I think there is some shame in worried about your team getting blown out at home. You should never have to worry about your team getting blown out at home because you know what? Good teams don't get blown out at home.
Yeah, it's just the Dolphins, bro. It's just what
I know. It's the Dolphins. I mean, we get blown out, when all you need to do is beat the Jets at home to make the playoffs.
I feel different.
We are cursed. But
I do feel different, bro.
I've been saying it. I feel different. I know we say it every year, but this is different.
35-31, brothers. 35-31. The Miami Dolphins. My big thing for this game is it possible to stop Josh Allen? Maybe not. But can you slow him down? Can you make him skip a beat? Can occasionally you force them to punt? Have the defense lock it down and just give the offense a shot,
I guess
if we score first, force them to play this catch-up game, and then all we need to do is force them. The difference between scoring a touchdown and a field goal of instead of going from 28, they score a field goal, that's 31. 35-31, we're good to rock there, man. Those little 4 points save on the stop, that could be the difference between winning the game. We get a little 5 touchdowns for the Dolphins, 4 tutters, and a field goal for the Buffalo Billy Boys. Nice game. We cover the over, and it's a good, beautiful game. Points all around. The Dolphins winning a heart-throbbing game. 40 points for Tua.
That's a high bar for a team who hasn't had a top 10 offense in a long time.
For the sake of my fantasy team, I guess I'm hoping for a nice 7-0 win by the Dolphins.
No, come on. Fantasy never trumps.
Fantasy never trumps, bro.
Never trumps. Fantasy never trumps.
I hope Gabe Davis puts up 0 points.
I hope the Dolphins put up 100 points. You know what I mean? Let's go. I think they can win. There's definitely a chance they can win.
They definitely can.
Bills now, there's definitely a chance we could have that momentum after 2 big games like that. We could just be feeling it. I think it could happen. It really could happen. But
I think
we got to move on. We got to move on from the Dolphins to a much less exciting matchup, to the whopping NFC East matchup here. This is the Monday night game. Dallas in New York or New Jersey, I guess, taking on the Giants. Are the Giants going to start 3-0? Is that what's going to happen? That's what I think is going to happen. I have the Giants winning this game 24-17. I just think the Cowboys aren't going to win back-to-back games with their offense like that. The Giants have looked pretty good so far. They look okay so far. They haven't had any impressive wins really. But I think Dallas could still be in for a world of hurt before Dak comes back, and just lose spots in the division. Big games like this, NFC East divisional games are always important. And I think Giants start strong.
Do I trust Cooper Rush? Absolutely not. The drop off from Dak to Coop is significant. But do I trust Danny Dimes,
No.
4th year, former 6th overall pick? Also, no, I do not. The Cowboys defense is really shaping up to be a top unit in this league. Dan Quinn has them right. Micah Parsons is a stud. The Giants are off to a hot start. They finally have a winning record in a long time, 2-0. But I don't know if the fans are hyped enough to give them enough of a home field advantage at MetLife to beat the Cowboys. I'm predicting a 21-13 Cowboys win.
Ooh.
I think the Giants will have trouble scoring.
The Giants will have trouble scoring. So for me, I'm not sure if Kayvon Thibodeau is going to play. So I'm going to pull a little Spencer and do a little caveat over here. If Kayvon Thibodeau plays, I think the Giants can win in a tight, close game where they won't score much, but this kid is dying to get on an NFL field. If he gets his debut on Monday night, he'll have a big sack party, a little defensive pressure. I think they'll win a disgustingly ugly game of, 17-14 as both offenses just struggle to put up points, and the Giants manage to come away with it. But barring that, most likely it's not looking like he's going to play. So I think that the Cowboys are going to have to pull up, bro. That defense is locked down. A very, very ugly game of 20-14, bro. Cowboys dub.
Yeah, that should be a fun Monday night game in MetLife.
I don't know about fun, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Cooper Rush versus Danny Dimes.
Maybe if you like old school football, you like
balance. Little Saquon Zeke battle should be cool.
Well, we'll see if it's going to be a good defensive game or just a lousy offensive game. That makes a big difference.
I truly think it's going to be lousy offense, honestly, unless my boy Kayvon Thibodeau plays.
We'll see if Cooper Rush is still America's quarterback. Did we lose Spencer?
I
think we have 2 of Spencer now.
Oh, look at that.
We're back.
How lucky can we be?
On the phone. Yeah, my computer definitely died, but that is okay. We move on here. Did we pick the next game, or are we still talking about Cowboys-Giants? You want to move on to the next game?
Yeah, we covered the Cowboys-Giants. I did not know you were frozen, but we're good to rock, thankfully.
We're still going here. Last game for Primetime Pick'em, just a brief interruption. Fernando and I both suck still. We both missed that Thursday night pick and incorrectly picked the Steelers to win. So the score remains 3.5 to 1.5 for Spencer in the Primetime Pick'em standings. And let's go into the last game of the week, Sunday night game, 49ers versus Broncos. We know how much you love Russell Wilson. Fernando, why don't you kick this one off?
Dude, the freaking Denver Broncos, I've been calling it all off season, are going to look slow. I didn't think this slow looking 0-2, but my Denver Broncos will start 0-3 because Russell Wilson absolutely sucks. This kid is not it. Obviously, he's not that bad. He's still a good QB, guys, but I do have them losing to the 49ers despite them having to start Jimmy Garoppolo. I think they're just going to look like a more competent unit. The Broncos have not gelled. Nathaniel Hackett does not know what he's doing. While Kyle Shanahan does, he's not going to skip a beat elevating Jimmy G. And as much as I was trying to clown Russell Wilson in the beginning, we know he's not that bad, but he's not playing to his best of his capabilities. I had him pegged at 8th best QB before entering this. Maybe my guy Russ is sliding down. I was worried that Russ was going to prove that he's not a system Seattle guy, but hey, he still has not won a game as a Denver Bronco, so we're going to see how it rocks for now, man. Oops. San Francisco 49ers win in a nice 27-17 dub over the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, I know they were saying.
Oh, go ahead, Trevor. Go ahead. Go for it.
Well, I was just going to say, I know Pete Carroll, stories are coming out how much Pete Carroll really gave Russell the favorite treatment. So I don't know if he's not seeing that in Denver, if that's really having an effect. Who knows?
He does have his own office.
Can you get through, Spencer? Can't hear you. While Spencer figured that out, I'll jump into my prediction here.
100%.
I agree, Fernando. I do think the 49ers are going to take this one on the road. I don't think the Broncos are going to be as bad as they showed. I think they'll get a little together, but Nathaniel Hackett has not looked good. Clock issues, red zone and goal line issues. It hasn't come together yet. The Niners are in a tricky spot. You know, their Super Bowl odds actually went down from 20-1 to 18-1 after Jimmy G stepped in. So odds makers don't think that right now there'll be much of a drop off, but it is a tricky spot because you can't evaluate your quarterback of the future. You can't really ditch him after a year of non-playing. His only real game this year was in a monsoon. So they're in a tough spot. Hopefully for them, they do well this year. Hopefully for the Dolphins, they don't, because we have their first round draft pick. But this game, I am predicting a 23-17 49ers win.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That should be a good down go the Broncos. I like that.
I was going to say we're all on the same side here again. I've talked about this on other episodes. I think the Broncos are kind of in trouble as a franchise, and I like Russell Wilson. But I just think they don't have the pieces right now to compete with the other teams in their division. So until they improve, or if they can improve with how much money they gave Russ and how many draft picks they gave away, good luck. But I do think that the 49ers have not really lost a step when it comes to Jimmy G. Everybody's familiar. They know how the offense runs with Jimmy G. They've been successful with Jimmy G. So they should be just ready to go. It sucks for Trey Lance.
It does suck for Trey Lance.
It does. Yeah, he might. Unfortunately, he might have trouble finding another starting job, depending on how Jimmy G does. Because if he does well, I don't know. We'll see. But I had a 24-17 victory as well for the 49ers.
All very close scores.
Yes, all pretty close.
We're all geniuses
between us. But that's good. You know, we all think the same way.
It's pretty much guaranteed the Broncos are scoring 17 points this week.
It's also,
if you could bet it exactly that,
pretty much guaranteed that the Broncos win based on how we've been picking so far.
Ain't no way. It's a win-win for me, though, man. Either the Broncos lose and I continue to make fun of Russell Wilson, or the 49ers lose and my draft pick continues to get better. So, I truly, for once, just don't care. I want to see them tie, because that'll still hurt the draft stock, and I'll get to make Russell Wilson so much fun of Russell Wilson for tying a football game. Only losers tie.
You're right. I could root for a nice tie.
I hate ties too.
I'd be in favor of a little tie right there. But with that, the Dolphins will not tie. The Dolphins will not lose. The Dolphins will win. Forget what I predicted. Maybe that I was doing reverse psychology. You know what I mean?
Talk yourself into it.
It's gonna be a fun week 3. I'm excited. There's a lot of big things happening. I'm ready to go.
I love your change of tune. You know, the football lords smited your computer. You know, they struck it down, and Spencer said, "I have learned from my mistakes."
You're right.
It's a different Spencer. The studio replaced him when he chose the Bills. Technical difficulty, needed a new one in here.
Yeah, there briefly was 2 Spencers, and we all saw it, okay? If you scroll back in the episode, there was the Fumblebrewski, and then there was another one. I removed the original Spencer, and this is a brand new Spencer, Trevor. So I think your theory is correct. We might have had the old switcheroo like we were talking about earlier in the pre-back room of the show, you know?
We
Spencer.
We already talked about the Dolphins game. What? There was another Spencer? Dolphins win all the way. I've been saying that the whole time.
The ratings couldn't handle a negative Spencer.
No, sir. Producers pulled him.
With that, fins up. You know, go Dolphins.
Fins up, baby.
Have a good week 3. Fernando, you're going down in fantasy. Trevor, I guess
no way, no
this
how.
week. You're not playing me.
Fernando's talking a lot of crazy stuff. We'll see if we can have another playoff showdown yet again.
Trevor was the commissioner and creator of this
My
league. And remind me, Trevor, how many championships have you won in GA?
Listen, I have one championship in our league over who? Mr. 200, this guy Fernando.
I totally walked into that one because I forgot who you mean.
See, Fernando's still holding on to his one-time.
When you've been to so many finals, such as I, when you've won the league, I think twice. I mean, at least once. I've just been to the finals so many times.
I get it.
Been on the precipice of victory, been the victor over you as well, I believe, Trevor, and a great showing as well. So don't get all high and mighty with me, Mr. Sir.
Don't get me started on the second year of our league, which was 7 years ago, by the way, because this will be a long podcast.
Crazy.
Story for another show.
I'm a two-time Sacco champion, so I got you all beat there. Got you all beat there. But it's my year.
That's the 12th place award, guys.
You should see my nickname. This is my year. Take 9. I'm ready to go.
So
and with that, I'll see you all later. Have a good weekend.
See you guys on Sunday. Let's go 3-0. How about that?
Let's go 3-0. Huh? We ride.
We ride. See you guys soon. Thanks for having me.